Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Sonny here with an absolute out of nowhere crazy global lab patch. So we are 1 month away from Calcium Ball. We have a couple of content things we're expecting to come out, right? 2 more spots in Land More Light and maybe 2 more daycare spots with Gyphon and Mirrorworks. But that's also about it. Again, we are 1 month away from Calcium Ball, the 10-year anniversary. I sure wasn't expecting a lot, but this one here is crazy. There's so much here. There's even Lifeskill stuff and a new Lifeskill treasure item. So this patch will be out or should be out on Thursday next week. So this should be the next patch we're getting, and there's so much in it. Also, they are starting on class balancing again. Even if your class is not in today, I would expect that we're going to see more class changes coming up, and these are massive as well. So probably a good explanation why we haven't seen this in a while. There's legitimately new abilities, reworking abilities. Like, this stuff takes a long time to do, so I'm very excited to share you guys with the news here. As always, if you want to see this stuff live, join Twitch.tv/Prime, where we cover this in details. I'm going to do a quick rundown to keep you guys up to date. Let's get into it. First off is Sork. So I'll try to do this some TLDR, link in the description if you want to read like all the details on it. Sork is getting 11 more flat AP. 11 is correct. I have issues with these numbers. 11 flat AP base stats. They're changing abilities here on Omen, making like more intercast, explosions, lots of stuff here. Cooldown reductions, lots of cooldown reductions. Changing the passive. Pretty big sock buffs all around. I'm not going to go into details, there's a lot of this. Most of these are connection speed increases, cooldown reductions, across the board. See here, Shadow Karma goes from 14 to 4 seconds. Stamina not restoring though. Shadow Waves from 16 to 7 second cooldown. Activation speed increased. These changes are just nutty. From what I've heard from Sorks, there's rumor now going around that Jay's wife rerolled to Sork, so that's the kind of stuff we're looking at right now. And here, PvE damage buff, massive PvE damage buff for Sork. PvP damage is gonna be around the same. There's there's a few classes that get some PvP buffs here. Most of this is PvE focused. So big PvE buffs, cooldown reductions are like crazy for Sork. Awakening is getting some big changes as well. 4 second cooldown down from 8 on Blade of Darkness. Attack range, summon has been reduced. Movement speed has been increased. Knockback has been added. Final Scream cooldown changed from 4 seconds to 2 seconds. Attack range, explosions. See here they're reworking the abilities. It seems now you can use this. They're changing how it works. Linkage improvements on massive amounts. Rotating stamina consumption reduced 300 to 150 on Dead Child. Stiffness on this one here is only to monsters, and they gave it forward guard. Air Smash has been changed to apply both on hit and 2. Attack range buffs, and then some damage buffs here on Grim Reaper and BSR Grim Reaper. Pretty substantial PvE buffs for damage, but PvP should be around the same. Next up is of course the Goldfish. Again, like, read the class if you're interested in your class. There's so much here. I'm trying to do like a relatively quick overview. For Goldfish, massive movement speed buffs. New ability here, River of the Pulse. They're removing these 2 abilities, which were like flowing together, and they're adding this one here. Terra Pulse has been added on Tamer. This here is a 360 super armor multi-hit PvP stun. It's similar to the Striker Raw that everyone was losing their mind over getting a CC. It's the same ability pretty much. 10 second cooldown. And yeah, it's full super armor 360 multi-hit PvP CEC. Absolutely crazy. Next up is movement buffs here, which is something that Tamer really been lacking. It's getting completely outscaled. The power creep in movement is wild. So getting new super armor movement here, linking super well together, right? Activation speed increased, issues fixed, lots of this stuff here. Bound has been changed on Stepping River to only be PvE, but it's getting a forward guard instead. And linking to other abilities and everything. Health recovery has been changed from 102 to 80. A nerf on this one, right? But activation speed increased. A lot of like faster using linkage, which is pretty massive. Lots of other stuff here. Damage increases as well. As you can see, substantial damage increases on these two abilities. Getting a 50% crit rate as well. So, big Sock Tamer buffs also. Valkyrie is getting some much deserved buffs also. Righteous Jin here is getting changed. This is the WF ability. You can see it here. It's now going to be a forward guard. This is pretty much going to be identical to WF on Warrior Charging Thrust, where you're running forward with a forward guard. It's going to be forward guard all the way through. Very fast, very quick, very responsive now. Good movement speed buff. This will be for both Awakening and Sock. Stamina consumption with skill has been reduced, and knockback when you hit it only applies to monsters. So basically for PvP, it's just like a forward guard running. Quick forward dash now with good range. Next up is changing how this one works. This is Succession. This is now the ability, super armor, forward dash. Good quick burst. Again, Succession really needs some movement. Defense Judgment has unified so that only super armor is applied when using the skill. Cooldown down to 14 seconds. No, wait, so you don't consume stamina. And then you can connect into other abilities. Yeah, so lots of like connection buffs here. Change to a passive skill with Sword of Conviction. Now the damage, attack range, and first and second hit linking the Sword of Judgment skills will be changed when the skill is learned. So basically this is now a passive skill. Rotating camera stuff, connections. Here, counterstand. Spinning counter attack has been removed. Fixed issue where the spinning damage, air attack, adjustment skill. The following damage have been adjusted. Big PvE buffs. For Sock, which is very needed. I'm not sure this is going to be enough for PvE. I mean, you see like Holy Strike getting like over double damage, right? Over double damage in PvE on Holy Strike, things like this. So there's some very substantial PvE buffs in here for Sock Valkyrie, with finally some good looking movement on Sock Valkyrie. Yeah, I'm so happy to see them actually doing what I've been saying. Just look at the bad PvE classes and just buff them. But wait, there is more. And there's also nerfs. Kuno Awakening is actually getting some love. Can you believe it? Frosty is finally gonna be able to play. Maybe, we'll see. Sock Kuno here. First off, is getting a 3-second cooldown reduction on angle cutter. They are also changing the DP shred on this to be an evasion shred. And I believe they're removing... Yeah, no, so they're removing the DP shred on angle cutter, but they're giving an evasion shred instead. Attack range increased. All speed reduction effects successful on hit has been removed. Rookie's class here. Fixed the AoE size of it. And the damage changed. So 11,400 to 12,000. So PvE damage buff as well. For Awakening here, they're doing a new ability as well. Like, these are pretty substantial changes, actually new abilities as well for many classes here. Sunbeam has been removed and changed to Moonlight Stealth skill. Accordingly, when using the stealth skill while in the Sharon state, it's changed to remain in stealth while maintaining the Shahuran state. That's like the Awakening state. So it's now going to be it's a super quick, right? iframe super armor dash. And you should be able to maintain your stealth if you do this. That's the way I'm reading it. I might be wrong, but I'm reading it so you can do this in stealth as well. Moonshine, getting some changes here. Attacks applied even while dashing. Attack range increased. The tip, activation speed increased. Attack range increased. Smoothing connection. Like, these things are less tangible, but they might be huge buffs. Faster connections, smoother connections, bigger AoE sizes. Yeah, this is really good. This is really good. Cooldown reductions as well down here. 12 to 8 seconds. 12 to 8 seconds. Circle here, getting a 100% crit rate for both PvE and PvP. And it's getting a damage increase in PvP. Currently has 100% crit rate in PvE, 50% in PvP. So this is a PvP specific buff. And then we have here the damage of Moonlight skills has been changing. So this one here is Shockwave. Pretty substantial damage buffs, right? Well, this one here goes from 5 to 2 hits. But this one here is a huge buff. This is going to be more front-loaded damage. But it will also be a PvE damage buff. PvP should be around the same, but it's more front-loaded damage now. Kind of cool. Let's take a look at Ninja. Awakening Ninja has had some issues with movement, believe it or not. So the big reason for that is that they changed Murder's Intent, I believe it was, or Flashy Murder's skill. It's a 3-second ability, well, it was a 3-second ability, Super Armor CC, and they deemed that to be a bit much. But because of that, Awakening Ninja lost a lot of movement. So they added a new movement skill to the class instead of reducing cooldown on this one again. Added the ability to change Shadow Step and Smokescreen, left clicking, 20 seconds to 9 seconds here in Goblin Slash. It now consumes stamina instead though. Defense judgments have been added forward guard. Skills used to visible at skill start. So no, it used to be forward guard, now it's iframe at the start. And the float is also applied in PvP. And it's a 9-second cooldown now. Attack behavior has been changed. On the cavitation, fixed distance before attacking, and increase the down attack and fall sweep and transfer to a spinning blade. Here on, that's these abilities, right? On succession, here on awakening. Murder's Chain has been removed and changed to this skill here, which is basically like the Kuno one. They did the same as with Kuno with the movement. So it's a quick 5-second cooldown, right? 5-second cooldown, iframe, super armor, forward dash, with good long movement on it. And I believe you should be able to, using stealth while zero has been changed to remain in stealth while keeping the awakening state. There's some changes here as well, changing it so you can get air attack buff and sweep the floor. 2 dragons getting a PvP damage buff, some changes here, issues, whatnot, and then we have PvE buffs across the board. Pretty substantial PvE buffs, again on Awakening Ninja, a class that really needs it and deserves it. Lots of changes here. They're doing some good stuff now. Wizard and Witch changes. So, for Succession Wizard, they are changing the passive that will reduce your cooldowns by 1.5 seconds when you're using the same ability to now be between 1 and 3 seconds on the big ability. So here, whenever you have like this step 3, which is your earth avoid destruction, the discharge, and then blizzard and meteor, right? Whenever you're using these abilities over here, it will reduce the cooldown by 3 seconds. If you're using these abilities, it will reduce the cooldown by 1 second of your hardest, your biggest abilities. So you will be able to get a lot more blizzards and meteors with this. That's what they're saying, that's what they're going for. You should be able to use them a lot more often on SOC Wizard now. They're also changing the F key here on this one. Now they are reworking the lightning abilities. 2 new discharges have been added. This here is a forward guard ability with just damage. Looks amazing. Pretty decent damage. 4 hitter, 3000, 100% crit, just forward guard damage. This one right here is forward guard, as you can see, until the end. So forward guard charge up. This is a CC. It's a knockback. So I'm assuming you can move after casting it, right? I doubt you have to linger the unprotected part. I haven't been able to test it, but yeah, reworking these abilities, they look great. So this will be a forward guard knockback. Also, this one here, I quickly want to note, this is not 15% magic DR reduction. This is the normal minus 15 flat DR, which the class already has. They're now adding it to these abilities here. So you can use them for better AoEs or movements or whatnot, right? So they're just adding them here. We checked different translations. I'm 99% sure that it's not 15% damage, magic damage reduction. But yeah, that is Sock Witch and Wizard. Awakening Land. Bring back skills that can fill the gaps in PvE. Activation speed of various skills, attack power buffs, and DP shreds have been supplemented. So a lot of these smoothing out. Should be a lot smoother. They are buffing the DP shred from 20 to 25, and they're increasing the AP buff from 16 to 20. So in total, that's going to be like 19 AP. DP shreds and AP work very similar. There's advantages, just different aspects of them, but yeah. Activation speed increase, all the stuff here, and we get some PvE buffs as well. On damage, on Assassin, some cooldown reductions. Again, range have been improved. Stuff here, they're moving more heals over to Snake's Coil, so you can maintain that and heal more in PvE. Cooldown reductions, all this stuff, stamina reductions, and PvE buffs. Do note that this goes from 2 max 4 hits to 1 to 2, but still big PvE buffs across the board on all abilities. Nothing like not crazy. What we're looking at, like 8%, I would say, PvE damage buffs on all the abilities, which is nice. Succession Nova, the big TLDR on Succession Nova is that they are moving some of the damage from the pits over to the class itself. And this is important because summon attacks have different features. They don't scale the same way. They don't benefit, I believe, from like special attack like crit damage. They don't scale with that. There's a lot of issues with summons where they don't benefit from other effects. So moving more of the damage over on the class should benefit it quite a bit. Pretty much all PvE focused here. We've got cooldown reductions as well. 8 to 7, 8 7, 10 to 9. Health restorations, a bit of buff. Activation speed increased. Smoothing linkage on the movement stuff. And we got some PvE buffs here. Yeah, we're looking, what, that's, I don't know, 10%, 15% damage increase in PvE. Pretty substantial PvE damage increase on all the abilities, but as I mentioned, there is a PvE damage nerf on the pit attacks to move the damage more over on the class, have a different distribution, which should be a good thing. It will be a good thing. Dracania is getting some much deserved PvE buffs, but also it's gonna be a lot easier charging your irons. Linking, fixing again here. They are buffing the iron generation, so RMB is gonna give you 6, the E is going to give you 9, and the Rabam is now going to give you 3 irons. So you will be able to keep, this is a forward guard by the way, so you can use that in PvP for recharging as well. Way easier keeping up irons. You don't have to do this complicated PvE rotations anymore. You can literally just use E once in a while and boom, you got full irons to blast. And thank God they are buffing the PvE damage as well. It looks like around 10% damage increase for the most part in PvE. Some more, some less. Just everything buffed up on PvE damage. Awakening Wusa is getting 10 more DR buff. It's also getting like changing movement speed to be attack speed reduction instead on the debuff, and you're getting now 15% damage reduction in super armor on Awakening Dosa, and activation speeds increases, which again, this can be massive. Dosa nerfed. Okay, here's the TLDR. Succession Dosa pretty much got a 10% damage reduction across the board. Succession Dosa, 10% damage reduction on all the abilities in PvE. PvP looks unchanged. That's the TLDR on Sock Dosa. Awakening Dosa is a bit more. They added split damage on all these abilities. So now it's going to be split damage for PvP, not PvE. They also nerfed the max HP from 3000 to 2000. And this here is the big giga nerf for PvE. This is the E ability. I know it says downpour. It's not. It's the E ability. It's the jump. Change from 5 seconds to 8 seconds. This is very massive for PvE nerf when moving pack to pack. This won't have any effects when you're doing pillar spots, but places like Chunkred just absolutely got nuked with just this change here. Now on top of that, the fire element here gets a 25% damage nerf in PvE, and all the other abilities are getting around a 10% damage nerf. All of them here around 10% damage nerf, and the fire one here 25% damage nerf in PvE. So the class is pretty much the best PvE class right now. It's definitely overperforming significantly. It is up there with your Awakening Nova and Sock Witch, but they are not changed, right? It's just those up, and this one right here pretty much nukes the class for yeah, like running, grinding, anything but pillar spots. This here is the big nerf. The E going for 3 more seconds cooldown. For me, for Chunkred, I'm already kind of waiting on the cooldown. I do like between 4 and 5 seconds per pack. So now it's going to be 8 seconds for my movement. I'm going to have to use different movements, which is just slower. So it's a giga nerf for Chunkred specifically. But there it is, right? So that was the big class changes. And this is where like, wait, there's more. So they are actually looking at life skills now. First off is the Royal Workshop, which they talked about coming with Land and Morning Light. It's actually here now. We don't know too much about it yet, but it's in the pack. It should be out next maintenance, right? So it's finally here. The gist of it is you can produce and process things. So you have all these nodes here, and you can unlock them by talking to some workers. There's a list right here. You can talk to these for the production and processing. And you'll be able to send workers to these and have them produce and process stuff that you can then sell. It's going to be similar to trading, but it doesn't work like trading. You can move it. It's going to be general items. So unlike assistant trading goods, you're not affected by distant bonuses or trade levels. It's going to be interesting. One of the cool things about it is this. You can produce these things to earn silver, which is dope, but you also have a chance of obtaining high ability buffs items during the processes. You can use these buffs you obtain yourself, but if you wish to sell them, you can sell them through the marketplace, so they can be used as an additional source of income. Now, what these buffs are, we don't know, but there you go, right? So definitely looks interesting. I'm looking forward to being able to dive into this and dissect all of this stuff here, hopefully on Thursday. But there's some screenshots here to basically show you how it works, but we're not seeing all the things. The processing base as well. How to unlock it. Right. Imperial alchemy and cooking are getting buffed. They are changing the weight on the boxes from 10 to 1. And the big thing is you can now turn in both cooking boxes and alchemy boxes. They no longer share limit. So for me, I have 501 CP. I can turn in 250 boxes of cooking and 250 boxes of alchemy if I want to do that. So pretty awesome. And they are finally taking a look at the mastery. So for whatever reason, Imperial alchemy only scales up to 45.8% increased silver at 2k mastery, whereas cooking goes up to 145% at 2k. They are equalizing these, so now you'll get a bit more silver on Imperial, and maybe some of them are going to be profit now. You can also make 100 boxes at a time, which is great because they also reduce the weight, right, by 10 times. So you can make 100 bulk crafting at a time, so you don't have to spend too long doing this. Absolute W, love to see it. It's such a simple change, but it's going to have a really big impact on the market. Right now, there's going to be more people able to do it. It's going to be easier, and people can then do both alchemy and cooking. Someone like me that's doing alchemy for the Saga Scroll, I can now also do cooking, which will increase the demand for cooking boxes, right? So there might be some positive effects here spilling out from this on the life skilling market and money making for you guys out there. This one here is amazing. This here is super cool. So for the guild Manor stuff, the TLDR is this. They are making Manor furniture buffs. So you can now make guild house buffs, like AP buffs, DP buffs and all that, and make a guild furniture type of it, which will have more durability. You can put it in the guild manner and guildies can use it. So there's going to be some sort of cohesiveness here in the guild. You can go in there, you can get the buffs, you can people that are doing this kind of stuff, like to do it, benefit from it. And you need these items here, right? Furniture license, you can buy them. Breath of Anger, you can get them through the guild bosses. So now like the guild have stuff it can do and you can benefit from it. You now have a reason to go into the guild manor, meet your homies and hang out. And this for me here is one of the big notices as well. As mentioned earlier, if cooking and alchemy can also be done together, the guild leader manor will be more useful and the guild members' adventure for the manor will become more precious. We will prepare hard so that we can tell you more news about this through the Black Desert Lab. So this is first off not a Calvin Ball thing announcement coming. They're saying they're going to put it just literally in the game soon. And being able to go there and do alchemy and cooking with the homies, I'm looking forward to that. Instead of just standing in my own home, this like builds unity, social aspect. I'm super excited for that. It's not a small thing, but I think it will have a big impact. Giggity. Warehouse changes, furniture adjustments in weight, don't really care. And fishing buffs. There's a lot of Lifeskill stuff in here, and maybe more to come, who knows? But they are adding new special treasure fish. 45 new fish have been added, and they go up to 1 billion silver. 1 billion silver, lots of them, so you have like 990, 950 million, right? A lot of these. 45 different ones from 15 million silver all the way up to 1 billion. But that's not all. Increased fish prices by grade. White, green, blue, yellow, and orange doubled. So they're also just hard doubling all the silver value on all existing fish and adding all of these into the game as well. So for the people out there that are enjoying fishing and maybe want to try and do some active fishing, there might be some real value now. It might not be a complete grief, but I, for one, am looking forward to Mr. Rapolus testing that out for us all so we don't have to. But really cool, if nothing else, then the AFK fishing should go pretty hard with this change. Bartering is getting updates as well, changing out the trade goods. You can check the list on the link. They are hard buffing stuff here as well. Acquisitions, changes, bartering, gold plate. Now you need 1, 1, 1, 1 on all the steps. Number of crow coins when you're doing the golden plate has been increased by approximately 3 times. The sudden barters are getting changed from these here. So now you can get tri-manas and 10 manas accessories and these items here on the sudden barters. 10,000, 7,000 coins, all of this. So removing a lot of these more useless stuff. A pretty big difference, like do Gira to try and 10 manas. The number of crow coins from surprise bartering has also been increased. So instead of going from 200 to 2,000, it now goes from 500 to 4,000. But wait, there's more. If you're heavy disabled, the Carracks will now be sellable. If you're a Carrack, you can turn it into a registration. You can now sell them on the marketplace and they will be valued at 10. Lowest is 10 up to 50 billion silver for the Carrack. So there you go, starting at 20 billion, 10 to 15 billion Carrack price on the marketplace. Some of those sea hunting guilds just became rich. And that's not all, because PA went ahead and added a new treasure item to the game. And this one is a Lifeskill treasure item. The training dong lamp. Name is pending. So they added the treasure Dong Dong lamp, and what it does is if you equip it, it will continuously restore the carrot's power. So constantly recovering it, so potentially like unlimited horse training. Definitely all night, no problem, I would assume. And it also eliminates its surrounding, but most importantly, it shows up visually, so you can flex on all those scrubs out there that don't have it. Best treasure items, best rarity items in the game are the ones you can show other players that you have that they don't. So honestly, I'm gonna be going pretty hard on training. I'm not a big training guy, but I've done a bit. I definitely want this. I'm gonna be going for this one. I can promise you that much. How do you get it? Right. So you need 4 of these pieces. You see here. You need 4 of the lamp pieces. You get those as a low probability by imperialing T6 to T8 horse. A very low probability, and a low probability by imperialing fantasy horses. So that's your T9 horses. So yeah, I mean, we might be shipping some T9 horses into the abyss. You also need 1 of these, and the way you get this is low probability with the Imperial steed. The Imperial steed is a special horse you can get when you're breeding horses together. It's a super rare proc, and you need to then get the rare proc, you level up to level 15, and then you can sell it and get a special box that's basically T9 attempt. And that will also give you a low probability of this one here. So this is going to be a long haul treasure item. This is definitely not one that's going to be easy to get. But if you're active doing horse training or like doing it AFK overnight, right? Over time, this is something you can work on. Really cool. And I'm going to start doing it for sure. Some other changes here. Bottle of Notes, now stackable. Afuro illuminates lights. Nerfs in the story. Blah, 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 blah. Nothing really. Creo is appearing here. Occupation wall. This is feedback I know, especially from the NA community. So recently they added the 15-minute limit if you're doing Nodewar. If you held a node for 15 minutes, you won it no matter the time. And this leads to some good and bad interactions depending on like regions, how they played. The bad ones, basically you took it, like your strong guild, you took it, people left you alone, boom, you're out after 15 minutes, you get to play 15 minutes and that's not even it, right? So they're removing this if there are 3 or more guilds. When there are 3 or more guilds, this here is not in effect. With this direct feedback, they're saying that they tried it out, they had some plans for it, it didn't really work. And we'll continue to observe and find ways to ensure active battles in the Node Wars. So at least they're listening to feedbacks about bad changes. Even though they're trying to make good changes, sometimes they completely miss the mark. They're listening to some feedback here. Some UI changes here on the pad mode. This one here, they are, which is kind of cool, changing the visual depending on the enhancing level. So there's sort of enhancing progression on the attempts depending on which enhancement level you're going for on the carry sets. A bunch of nothing, bug fixes, chat fixes, line fixes, and all that. But that was it for today's patch, and I'm gonna be honest, man, I was not expecting a big, huge patch like this close to Calcium Ball. It looks like class balance, PvE focus is back on the table, and I'm excited. Yeah. Hopefully next week we get some more Awakening Warrior PvE buffs, baby. I can feel them right around the corner. But let me know what you guys think. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one.